Hello, I'm Ollie and this is CriminOlly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, all of the above and some children's books. I've got a little book haul for you. So I've got quite a variety of books to talk about today, as you might have guessed from that intro. So I've got some lovely vintage paperbacks, which I got for my birthday, which I had recently. I've got some children's books, which I also got for my birthday. I've got some manga, and then I've got some books I picked up for kind of booktube events and things like that. So let's start with the birthday stuff. And let's start with the one of the children's books first. So my mum and dad gave me this Cars and Trucks and Things That Go by Richard Scarry, which apparently, and I don't remember this, I remember having a copy of the book as a kid, but apparently it was the first book that I was obsessed with as a child. So I absolutely loved it, and flipping through it, I definitely remember a lot of the illustrations in this. And appropriately, because it was for my 50th birthday, there's a sticker on the front saying that Richard Scarry had been entertaining children for over 50 years, albeit this book actually came out, I did check, in 1974, so the year after I was born. Anyway, looking forward to flipping through that one again. And then my sister, as well as getting me some, I guess, more channel appropriate stuff, also got me these two lovely Ladybird Horror editions, so Dracula and The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So I will very much look forward to reading these and seeing how they compare to the full versions of those books. They do have, the Dracula one certainly does have some quite nice illustrations in it. I have to say they're quite nicely done in the Ladybird style. I don't know how well known Ladybird books are outside the UK, but over here they are absolutely kind of essential reading for kids. And then the other things my sister got me. So she does watch the channel and may even be watching today. So if you are, hello. So anyway, she got me some crime, some pulp, and some horror. So entirely appropriate. So two Ed McBains. So The Con Man and Lady Killer. So I do have copies of both of these already, but not in these glorious penguin green spine vintage crime editions. So these will be replacing my existing copies of those two books. For pulp, we've got one of the Fox books, Cut and Thrust by Adam Hardy. So these are, I've not read any of them, but they're supposed to be great. Kind of Napoleonic War, naval adventures, but kind of really grimy and violent. So very much a New English Library take on historical fiction. So yeah, looking forward to reading this, and I may even read this for the upcoming BookTube at War event. I think it would fit for that. And then also a lovely vintage paperback edition of Cujo by Stephen King. So I've got Cujo on my Kindle, but I didn't have a paperback edition. This is, I believe, the UK paperback first edition. So really great. That's going to look lovely on the shelves. Right, that's the birthday stuff. Let's do the manga next, just because I've got it next to me. So I've been getting into manga recently. I've got one thing here from a new series, which I haven't read yet, but it came heavily recommended in the comments. So it's Monster, which I think is a kind of crime. I don't know if it's true crime or just crime, but it's supposed to be fantastic. And nicely, they're quite thick, the volumes. I think there's like 10 or 12 of them. But unlike other manga volumes, which are only kind of 200 pages, these are about 400 pages, but the same price. So definitely good value for money, if nothing else. So yeah, we'll see what I think of that one. Looking forward to diving into that. And then from the series I have been reading, I got Blood on the Tracks Volume 2, so need to know what happens next in this series. I got Black Butler Volume 2, so Volume 1, I was kind of quite enjoying it, and then the end was so bonkers and such a huge twist that I need to read Volume 2 to see what happens next. And then also Spy X Family Volume 4, I have got Volumes 2 and 3 on the way as well. So yeah, really very entertaining series from what I've read of it so far. Right, let's move on to other stuff then. So these ones I picked up over the last couple of days. So over the weekend, visited a couple of towns I don't often visit nearby. So Lewes to the east of where I am, and Worthing to the west, and picked up a few things. So I've got these two for the BookTuber War event, which I've already mentioned. Storm of Steel by Ernst Junger, which is a First World War novel. I didn't check when it came out. 1920, so very contemporary to the First World War. So a German book about the front line. And then The Naked and the Dead by Norman Mailer, which has this fantastically 70s UK cover. Let me just double check. Did it come out in the 70s? Oh, this edition. No, this edition came out in the 60s by the look of it. Whether this cover was from the 60s or not, I'm not sure. The book obviously originally published in the 50s, but one of those books I've always been meaning to read. So it is quite a chunker, 600 pages, but I'll get to that at some point, hopefully, during July. And then a few other things of varying degrees of interest. So this looks great. I just saw this in the charity shop and had to get it. It's by an author called Bud Schulberg. I've never heard of it, but apparently it's Bud Schulberg's acid novel, and it's called What Makes Sammy Run. It's got someone on the front who looks a bit like Frank Sinatra. I don't know if there was a movie with Frank Sinatra, but the blurb on the front said, "Frenziedly ambitious, ruthlessly amoral, Sammy carved his way from the slums of New York to Hollywood's tainted splendours." So that really does sound quite fantastic and wonderfully. So this book came out. When did it come out? So originally came out in 1941. This book was published. This edition was published in 1961. But inside it, as a bookmark, it's got this, which is one of the most beautiful things I've seen for a long time. So it's a little guide pamphlet to the Lake of Odyssey. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. So it's got attractions of the lake and mountains. Got a lovely illustration on the cover there. All sorts of information. It folds out. There's more lovely illustrations. There's a map, like a kind of map of the area there, and then another map, another more beautiful one on the back. So I just thought this was a really lovely thing. And I paid like £1 for the book, and it had this in it as well. So an absolute bargain. And then a few other things which looked interesting or were books I wanted to own or re-own. So I got The Day of the Triffids. So I do have this on my Kindle, but isn't this a really lovely cover? And I've been meaning to reread this. So by John Wyndham, obviously, his famous book of plants attacking. This one I've never heard of, but when I read you the blurb, you'll and the title, you'll guess why I bought it. So it's called Death of a Blue Movie Star. It's by Jeffrey Wild Diva, and it describes itself as an X-rated. The blurb is an X-rated killer steals the show. So a slightly saucy, by the look of it, murder mystery. So that looks good. Completely the other end of the mystery scale. But again, a book I bought purely on the basis of the title. This is a cosy mystery about a dog detective. So I'm not sure if he works. I think he works with a human detective. But yes, a dog detective anyway. And the book. So the author is Diane Kelly, and the book is called Enforcing the Poor. So I just had to buy that. It looks like a lot of fun, and certainly a good palate cleanser between all the disturbing books and horror and stuff. And then another book that I used to own, like Day of the Triffids, but really want to reread. So Michael K. Vaughan mentioned this book in a Voxer chat the other day. He picked up a copy from a little free library, I think. And I remember this being my favourite book in the series. So the series is the Dirk Pitt series, the author Clive Cussler, and the book, the fantastically titled Raise the Titanic. So action adventure from the 70s. These books were my grandfather loved these books. My dad loves these books. I love these books. They're just pure entertainment. And then finally, another one I've been meaning to read for ages and ages. And had thought about buying it on Kindle, but when I saw when I saw this lovely vintage paperback edition, I had to get it. It's Airport by Arthur Haley, and I'm assuming this one. Oh no, so it says on the cover now a film from Universal Pictures with an all-star cast headed by Burt Lancaster and Dean Martin. I've wanted to read Airport for absolutely ages. Really looking forward to this one as well. Hello, I've changed outfit and it is in fact a few days later, but I've had a few more books come in and the video is not scheduled to go up yet, so I thought I would film a little bit extra and show those to you. So 2 digital books first that have been sent to me by the authors. So a book called The Night Begins by Abigail Taylor, which is a folk horror novella, which sounds fantastic. So yeah, it's got really good blurbs from people like M.R. Carey, who's a very well respected writer. And then the other one is one that I've seen doing the rounds on BookTube and has had very good reviews from people. That's The Vile Thing We Created by Robert P. Ottone, which looks really creepy and really good. So really looking forward to reading that one. In terms of other things then, so a few books that have been sent to me by the publisher Yen Press, who are a publisher who specialise in Korean manga. So we've got From the Red Fog by Mosei Nohara, which looks quite creepy. I don't really know what any of these are about, but they do all look really good. So it's got a nice kind of gothic look to it. And then also Manner of Death by Yukari Yumamento, and based on an original story by Salmon. So this looks like more of a crime one. So looking forward to trying that. It's a little bit thicker than most manga volumes as well. So yeah, looking forward to that one. And then also a novel, which I'll try and pronounce the title of. So I think it's pronounced Tes Cattle Poker, and it's by Kiwamu Sato. So this looks really interesting. So let me read you a bit of the blurb because it does sound good. Ousted by a rival cartel, a brutal drug lord flees Mexico to the distant east. An unwanted child commits a terrible deed and is locked away for years. A Japanese heart surgeon is shunned by the medical community and turns to work as an illegal organ broker. 3 lives become entangled in threads of flesh and are plunged into a world of blood and bone. Together they carve out a new criminal empire, but how long can a dynasty last? Destiny is not for mortals to decide. It is cast by the night and wind. So that sounds phenomenal. That really appeals to me. It sounds like a really nice mix of kind of crime and horror. So looking forward to that one. And then also got sent very kindly by Michelle from the channel Michelle's Melancholia, our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez, which is supposed to be fantastic. I've heard great things about this. It's a big old book though. It's like 600 pages long. But I love the cover, and as I say, it keeps getting phenomenal reviews. So thank you again, Michelle, for this. Really looking forward to that. And then I think I said earlier in the video I had a couple of more volumes of Spy X Family coming. So volume 2 and volume 3. So I've now got the first 4 volumes of that. And then also, because so in my manga vlog, I'd read the first volume of Berserk and wasn't that keen on it. But people kept on saying, you need to read more, you need to read more. So I read volumes 2 and 3, which are in the first volume of the deluxe edition. And it does indeed get a lot better. So I picked up also volume 2 and volume 3 of the deluxe edition. So I haven't even unwrapped these yet. They come in kind of plastic covering. So yeah, looking forward to diving into these soon. I need to figure out how I'm going to read the manga that I've got to read. I'm trying to think whether I should like pace myself and just read for each of the series, just read one or 2 volumes a month or something like that, because otherwise I can see it getting very expensive very quickly. So yeah, we'll see what I do with those. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little extra bit at the end, and I will speak to you soon. So I'm not going to do a random book for the shelves today because I've got a sore throat, as you may be able to hear. So yeah, I'm struggling a little bit. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know if you're taking part in BookTube at War. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you're safe and well out there. I hope you're reading good stuff. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.